So wherever you go, we walk by the Colosseum, you just like sort of run right into it. And then all of a sudden you're at the Roman Forum and it's all, out in the open.
Welcome to Experiences You Should Have, your how-to guide for amazing experiences. And on today's show, I got to speak with Sarah from Postcard Academy podcast. And Postcard Academy podcast is a weekly travel show sharing the best food and culture tips from expats living abroad. So if you love travel and you want to make sure you're being culturally appropriate and know the best tips, you must check out the Postcard Academy podcast. And a little bit about Sarah. She got the travel itch when she was 18 years old. She spent a summer in England's Lake District working as a waitress. She wanted to stay in Europe forever, but it seemed impossible for Americans. Years went by, and at some point while living in New York City, she realized she might be eligible for Italian citizenship due to her ancestry. She started gathering up all the documents, and she applied for Italian citizenship. And then she met another American who suggested that she move to Italy and just apply there. And she did. She went to Italy. She applied. There's something called the right of blood, and she received her Italian passport a month or two after applying there. So on the advice of a stranger asking her or telling her that she should just move there and apply in Italy, she did it. And she had the time of her life living and working abroad. And for the last 10 years, she has been working and traveling Europe. Hence Postcard Academy and her whole travel blog as well. She's got great articles. And so Sarah and I were talking about what should this episode be about? What is that experience that others should have? And we decided to do it on living like a local in Rome. Now, I have never been to Rome, so I am not your travel expert on Rome. I've traveled more in South America and Asia, and I go to like weird places in the middle of the ocean. If you can't tell from my podcast, I am an ocean lover. But I really would love to go to Rome. So I am taking her tips and hopefully we'll make Rome a reality. So thank you for listening to the show. I hope you enjoy living like a local in Rome and learning the hottest tips on where to stay, eat, what to order, as well as those great cultural tips. So I am talking with Sarah from Postcard Academy podcast and travel blog. Definitely check her out. I'm going to link to her in the show notes on experiences you should have. And we are talking about how to travel and live like a local in Rome. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. I've never been to Italy or Rome, and I'm a huge foodie. And
oh my gosh, Gail, we're going. I'm going to have to take you around.
I'm in. Please take me. Cheese is like my favorite thing in the entire world. So I'm extremely excited about this episode, and I think I'm going to eat a lot of Italian food when it comes out to celebrate this episode.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So can you give us a little bit of a background? How long have you spent in Rome, and what's your experience there, and why Rome?
Okay. Well, in brief, so I'm an American expat who is based in the UK. And so I do a lot of traveling. A lot of that is in Italy. I visited Italy for the first time when I was still at university. And I went there for 2 weeks on my spring break. And being from America, we are not used to seeing ancient ruins or these beautiful
No.
buildings and, all of these. It's just a walking museum. And I keep going back there year after year. And I'm actually Italian. I,
Huh.
technically, I have an Italian passport. So I am American and Italian. I loved Italy so much. And I have Sicilian ancestry. So I was able to get dual citizenship that way. And
Cool.
yeah, so I can go back whenever I want. And I do. And yeah, so that's why Italy, I just think it's the perfect place for vacation. As you said, you've got the amazing food, you've got all the history. It's a very laid back place. I enjoy the culture. And so I go back at least once a year and often for a month or two at a time.
Wow. Wow. So I want you to paint the picture for me. Tell me about your favorite day in Rome.
There is so much to do in Rome. There's something for everybody, but I think my favorite day in Rome was a day when I did nothing pretty much. I was working really long hours in England, and I had a friend in Italy, and she had a baby a year prior, and so she had no time to get away at
Uh-huh.
all. And
Yeah.
so we were like, let's plan this weekend together. We're just gonna go and hang out together and relax. And it was perfect weather. And we just spent 2 days strolling the streets of Rome. We went to one of my old neighborhoods called Monti, Monti, which is a great neighborhood for your guests to spend some time in. And we just did cafe hopping. There was cute little boutiques, so we would have a cappuccino here and then stroll around, get a glass of wine here.
Oh, it sounds
Uh,
lovely.
yeah, we did go to one of the smaller museums. It was this interactive museum that kind of puts you as if you were in this ancient Roman house. And so that was just really fun. And as I said, it's an open museum. So wherever you go, we walk by the Colosseum, you just sort of run right into it. And then all of a sudden you're at the Roman Forum, and it's all, out in the open for anyone to see. So there's certain things that you could pay to go in the Colosseum, you can pay to go in the Forum, but you're still going to see them as you walk by. So for me, that's the perfect day, just walking in, seeing all the sights.
Oh, that sounds just magical. I just want to leap from my office and go spend a day like that today.
So do I. Right now, I'm on the coast of England, which I normally love. But I have to say, as I was thinking about this, doing this episode this week, I've really had Italy on the brain. And I've just been thinking, oh, I really want to go to Rome and have some pizza and just, hang out with my friend again.
And you could go this weekend because you're in the UK.
I could hop over.
You can. You can. You should.
I'm
Do it
actually
for
going
us Americans stuck in the snow right now.
I have plans this weekend, but I do plan on going back to Italy pretty soon. So I think May will be my next trip. May is a very good time to go.
Is that your favorite time to go, or are there other months that are your favorite time for Rome?
I really like May and June, and I really like September and October. July
Mm-hmm.
and August is an inferno. It's so, so hot. And in August, that's when all the Italians are on vacation. And so
Right.
a lot of things are closed. So you might have been dreaming about going to a certain restaurant, but if you go in August, there's a good chance it's not going to be open because they're all on holiday.
Okay, that's a very good tip.
Yeah, I would say
And
August is probably the worst time you could go to Rome.
perfect, because August is my favorite time to be home. So
Okay.
I'll stay here. You can come to Bend, Oregon, the month of August.
All right. See you then.
Yeah. So, while you mentioned restaurants, which equates to food, what are the dishes you have to experience in Rome?
Well, my favorite food in the world, I think, is pizza. And pizza is different in different parts of Italy. So in Naples, which is famous for its pizza, the pizza
Mhm.
is a little bit thicker. puffier. It's different than American style thick pizza. It just has like sort of like puffier crust, whereas in Rome, it's more of a thin crust. And I actually prefer the Roman style. So I would say definitely get pizza in Rome. And I think I had mentioned to you before, Gail, that one thing that took me a while to get used to in Italy is the Italians, when they order a pizza, they don't order a pizza to share. Everybody gets their own individual pizza. And they're really big. Like, yes, they're thin, but they're big pizzas. And they don't usually do take like doggy bags or anything like that. Like it's becoming more acceptable, but in the past it wasn't. And so everyone just ate the whole pizza. And at first I was like, there's no way I can finish this. But now I totally do. I'll order and I'll eat the whole thing.
Now, what are toppings that would be on like a true Italian pizza?
So the classic pizza is the margherita, and that's just a plain pizza. And then I always get mushroom. There's no such thing as pepperoni over there. Actually, the Italian word pepperoni means peppers.
Oh.
So if you ordered a pizza with pepperoni, you get peppers on it.
Oh.
Definitely no pineapple.
You can't get Hawaiian pizza there?
I don't think so, unless there was like a really touristy place. So aside from pineapple and pepperoni, I think you'll find everything else probably.
It's good to know.
But another dish that you should try is called Cacio e Pepe, and that's just a very simple pasta dish. It could be spaghetti or like this other pasta that looks like spaghetti, and it's made with pecorino cheese and some black pepper. It's very simple, but it's really tasty.
I have been making that dish for years, and I have been butchering the name for years. So,
how are you saying it?
I say Kacho E Pepe. And it's
Cacio
E Pepe.
Yeah.
Yay! Fabulous. I would have a block of pecorino in my fridge to make that next week. It's a great dish.
Another reason for me to come to Oregon.
I love cheese. I love cooking when I have time. That is so great. It's such a simple dish, and at least the way I make it here is with using the pasta water from the cooking with the pasta. That's like
that is the key. That's the trick.
Yes,
you have to do that.
Salted. It's been salted. It's got the flavor from the pasta, and you mix with the pecorino romano and some lemon zest and lots of freshly ground black pepper.
You need to get to Italy. Oh, you are going to die. It's so incredible.
Would love to go.
All of your talk of cheese is just making me think of caprese salad is really big. I know that's, has become bigger in the States too, and burrata as well.
Yes.
So you'll find that everywhere.
I love burrata. It's just, I love cheese. It's so funny. My friend and I call her wine and she calls me cheese.
What a great pair.
Because I love cheese, which is super healthy. It's got great calcium. It is, and it's just so good for your brain because you're happy. So we've got the pizza, the Cacio E Pepe. Cacio?
Yeah. So in Italian,
help me.
In Italian, CI is ch. So cacio.
Oh, that's good. I should take some lessons.
Like children,
yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, Italians, if you're listening and you're cringing. I am trying. I will be better by the time I arrive. And
so, pizza, cacio e pepe, gelato, of course.
What's your favorite gelato flavor?
I would say pistachio and also hazelnuts.
Ooh, pistachio sounds so good.
Mm-hmm.
And does the hazelnut, do they incorporate chocolate into it? Is it like a Nutella, or is it more like a vanilla with hazelnut?
You'll find everything, I think. But Nutella is very big over there, as you probably know.
Yeah.
They'll find a way to incorporate Nutella in just about anything.
And where where should you experience these foods? Like, what are your favorite restaurants if you've just arrived to Rome that you must go? And what's the dish that you should order at each?
You're putting me on the spot, Scale.
Hey, all
So
right.
for gelato, I would say definitely Grom. It's called Grom, so Grom, and it is a gelateria that was founded in Turin, but now you'll find them all over Italy. So there's a few in Rome, and it's like very artisanal, very organic. They have some seasonal flavors as well. So you're going to find the pistachio, you're going to find the hazelnut, but then they also have other unique flavors. And so definitely get gelato there. And if you go to Piazza Navona, which is one of my favorite piazzas, there's one like right there. So you can go and get a gelato and then just stroll around. So yeah, that's one of my favorite places. And then for the pizza, there's a place called Ivo, and that's in Trastevere. So that neighborhood is become like really, really popular with tourists. And it's very charming and beautiful. But I think it's better during the day because it just gets so mobbed with tourists at night, like lots and lots of university students. So I think there's better neighborhoods to hang out than besides Trastevere at night. Having said that, I'm not sure Evo is open during the day. I think it might be open only at dinner. So go to Evo for dinner and then you can go somewhere else, do a different dinner.
Okay.
Forget.
I love it because you are adding to my food bucket list. And I love having food bucket lists because I love food. I love adventure too, but food is adventure in its own way. You've mentioned some of these big pizzas, the pasta. What about the dining etiquette? Is there a right way to eat the pizza? What should you not order? I would just love some information on cultural etiquette so you just don't look like a fool when you show up in Rome.
Oh, yeah. So I would say Italians have a lot of style. They're famous for their style. So they like to get dressed up when they go out to eat. So if you're going to dinner and people can identify tourists anyway, but if you don't want to really stick out, I would wear, a little bit dressier clothes than just shorts and flip flops and fanny pack. I mean, you can wear whatever you want, but if you want to fit in, I would dress up a little bit.
Style it up.
Style it up. And then
Hey.
they don't do tap water there, even though there are fountains all over Rome and the water is very good quality. They just don't believe in drinking tap water at the table at dinner. So if you say you want water, they'll say, do you want still or do you want sparkling? And they mean like which kind of water do you want to buy? Like they don't, if you ask for tap water, they would think it was really weird.
Okay. All right.
You'll probably get bread on your table, and this is sort of like a cover charge. And I think like the regional government said that you're not supposed to do this anymore, but I think most restaurants still do. So they'll put bread on your table, and you'll probably on your bill get like an extra euro or €3, like €1 to €3 per person charge. And just think of that kind of like as a service charge. And they don't put butter or oil on the table. So you've just got this bread. So you can eat plain bread. You can just leave it on the table. If you have a pasta dish, you can use the bread to like soak it up later. But so those are some common things.
Now, what about when you're ordering food? We've got a great Italian place over here, and it comes in various courses. Is that similar over there? Is it multi-courses for the Italian food?
Yes, good question. So yeah, it does come in courses. And so if you say you ordered a pasta dish and a meat dish and a salad, you would get it in that order. So the pasta would come out first, and when you're done with that, you would get the meat, and then when you're done with that, then the salad would come out. So it's
The salad at the end.
yeah.
That's
If you wanted to have it before, I'm sure they could accommodate, but yeah, generally it's toward the end.
Okay, but we are there to live like a local. And if the locals are eating their
Mhm.
salad last, then I'm going to eat my salad last.
And I also want to say, don't feel pressure to order like something from every course. In the past, I don't know if it was more common or what, but there's definitely the perception for a long time among tourists, like, oh, they're going to be mad if I don't order like all of these different dishes. But I don't think that's the case anymore. You can order whatever you want, and I'm vegetarian, so I'm never going to order the second dish. So it's totally fine if you just want to get some pasta.
Okay, that's
But
that's
don't
very
order a coffee or they'll have a heart attack.
Okay, what about coffee at the end?
You can order an espresso at the end, but not during.
Okay, all right. I mean, that's fair. I usually don't want coffee with my meal unless it's breakfast. Oh, can you order a coffee with breakfast there?
Yes.
Okay,
And in
okay.
fact, that's like technically the only time that it's acceptable to drink a cappuccino is before noon because it's considered a breakfast type of a drink. But I order it whenever I want and I just get away with it because I'm a foreigner, so it's okay.
They don't come like chasing you down. It's afternoon. You
No,
can't
but when I but
cappuccino.
but when I order it, sometimes I do say like, I know I'm not supposed to order this now, but I just want it.
Now, what about other espresso drinks? What about like mochas or that sort of thing? Can you have that afternoon?
I have not seen a mocha anywhere.
My
To be
husband is gonna have a heart attack. That's like his favorite.
well, there are some like hipster cafes who might try to mix things up or try to accommodate tourists, but no, I haven't seen anything mocha related.
Okay, okay.
And
It's good to know.
there's not a takeaway coffee culture. Um, People are either sitting at the cafe or I think most common is people standing at the bar and drinking their espresso quickly at the bar and then going off about their business. There's not any takeaway cups.
I wish that was the culture here. We produce like so much trash from
Mhm.
takeaway coffee. And I wish that we just sat there and talked to a stranger next to us or a friend or yeah, I feel like it should be a moment and an experience. And
I agree. I agree. I think that's my favorite thing. Going back to, you asked me what my favorite day in Rome was, and that was definitely part of it. Just sitting at a cafe, chatting to a friend, staring out into space or watching the people go by in the street. I mean, I don't think there's anything more relaxing. So yeah, I totally agree.
oh, I want to go so bad. I am ready to hop on a plane.
Get it on the calendar.
You know what? I will. I will. I'm one of those people. All I have to do is buy the plane ticket and then I'm going, essentially. How truly, how much money do you need for per month to live like a local in Rome or live there for an extended stay and really like embrace Rome?
I think you can do it for 1,000 to 1,500. So I spent a month there last year in May, and I rented an apartment for 500 euro. And so that wasn't by myself. I had two flatmates,
Okay.
but we were right in the heart of Rome, next to Piazza Navona. And so, you're not spending any money on transportation. They do have a metro there and they have buses, but I always walk everywhere in Rome. It's a big-ish city, but I think if you're in like good shape, you can walk everywhere.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so for rent, you can factor in 500. That's probably your minimum. So
Uh-huh.
I found my flat in a Facebook expat group for Italy.
Okay.
Um, if you wanted to do Airbnb, which would probably be the easiest option, that would cost more money because you have to add on the Airbnb fees. And
Right.
you'd also have to plan ahead more because, Rome is a very popular place. And if you wanted to rent a
Mhm.
place for an entire month, you've really got to plan ahead for that. And then I've also rented rooms through a website called Easy Stanza, And that was, I think, just bought by a new company. What did I say that was
See,
called?
room go,
Room Go.
room go.
And I had good luck with Easy Stanza. So that's more people looking for flatmates, but kind of on the longer term, but they definitely have options for the shorter term.
Okay.
And so I think renting an apartment that way is a good option and it keeps your expenses down. And then you will have more money to go out to eat. And so for going out for a meal, it's definitely cheaper in Rome than would be in London or New York, a lot cheaper. Wine is a lot cheaper. And then just like the meals themselves are more reasonably priced.
Okay, so I'm one of these weird like price people. Like I memorize different prices. Like I want to know what to expect.
Mhm.
What's the average cost for a glass of wine? And then what's the average cost for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
I guess that depends on what your concept of a meal is. So in Italy, they don't have a big breakfast. It's normally an espresso or a cappuccino and then maybe a brioche of some kind.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't know, your coffee could be, I'm sort of making this up because I am not good at money stuff like that. But it's reasonable. Like a pastry would be, I don't know, €2 and a
Okay.
coffee €1 or two.
Okay. All
So,
right.
that's your cheapest experience, I guess. And then pizza, they don't really have much takeaway there. Pizza would probably be like the biggest, like the one of the few options they have for takeaway. But if you take food away, it is cheaper than it would be if you're sitting down to eat. And so you could get a pizza for like maybe €6 or €7. I want to say it all depends on what topping
Okay.
you
Okay.
have. So that's a
And
pizzeria. It would be more expensive if you went to dinner at like a fancy place. And then a glass of wine, maybe €4 or €5.
oh, wow. That's great. Yeah, I can handle €4 or €5 for a glass of wine.
One thing that I do know for prices is Aperitivo. And so Aperitivo is, in case you don't know, I think one of my favorite things to do in Italy. So you go and you buy a drink at a place, and then included in your drink price, you've got like this food spread. And some of the places, it's just, like some chips and, a few finger foods. And then some have like full on like different pastas and rice dishes and all sorts of things like that. And there's one that place, the last time I was there, I think it was €6 for a drink, and they've got like tons of food. It's called Freni e Frizioni, and that's also in the Trastevere neighborhood. And I think they open at 6 or 7. So the idea is you would go to Aperitivo first to hang out with your friends, and then go to dinner after that.
So what time is dinner normally happening in Rome?
8 or 9.
That is late.
I know it's too late for me. So if I go to Aperitivo with my friends, I mean like Italian friends. For
Yeah.
me, Aperitivo is great. I'm like, that's it. Let's call it a night. This was fun. And they're like, no, we have to go to dinner. I'm like, dinner? We just had this food. We just had these drinks. For me, I'm like totally happy in the thought of like going and sitting for another like big meal. I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is so late. But when in Rome, right?
Okay. When in Rome. So we travel with our 4-year-old, and so we would just have to like keep her awake late.
I
And
think she would get used to it. I mean, I see kids all the time out and about.
yeah. Yeah. And then what time are people doing breakfast? If they're having this late dinner, what time is like your average breakfast time?
The same, I guess, is what Americans are used to, I think, because they have
Oh,
to go to work as well. So, yeah.
right.
So I guess they don't get as much sleep. Spain is the country that I really don't understand how they function because they eat even later. And I don't know, the Spanish people I know never sleep. I'm like, how do you guys do it?
Well, we've got to go study them. So we've got to go to Spain next and figure out how they do it.
I stayed with a friend for 2 weeks, a Spanish friend. We stayed with her parents, and we weren't eating until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night.
What?
For me, it was painful. It was so painful.
Wow. Whoa. I would be starving. I would be like, I just start getting like hangry at 5:30. I'm like, it's time for dinner.
Well, they give kids like a snack called Miranda um, around 5, but yeah, I don't know. Adults probably snack too. I mean, that's why they have the aperitivo.
Right.
But for me, I'm like,
True.
instead of snacking, let's just have our meal. But
Right.
anyway, I mean, not complaining. They can do as is. I do try to like go with the flow when we're like living like a local in Italy.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes it can be hard.
So, what are your favorite neighborhoods in Rome? If you were to live like a local in Rome and stay and try to look for what are the best little neighborhoods that you should stay in?
So I've stayed in a few. And I have stayed in Trastevere before. I mentioned Monte, which is a
Mhm.
really cool neighborhood. I personally like to try to practice my Italian, and so I really love Monte. I personally probably wouldn't stay there again because it is becoming more English speaking. I guess
Oh,
it's becoming more popular with tourists, but it's not like horribly touristy. I think it's a beautiful neighborhood. I love the restaurants there and I love the shops there. The only reason I personally wouldn't want to stay there is because I want to go to a more like Italian neighborhood so I can
mhm.
practice it. But I think for people who haven't been to Italy, Monty would be a fantastic neighborhood to stay in.
Okay.
And the neighborhood that I really like right now is called Testaccio. And that's kind of like an arty scene, lots of street art everywhere. They've got a cool food market. Um, and yeah, and people don't speak English to me right away. So that's why I like it because I like to try to keep up my language skills.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it.
But
That's really
having said
exciting.
that, if you're a tourist, you can definitely go to Testaccio. You're not going to be like lost or anything.
Okay. Okay. And what about travel etiquette? We talked a little bit about food etiquette. What about, um, is there a tipping culture or other etiquette that you should know when you're trying to live like a local in Rome?
There's not a huge tipping culture. If you were at a restaurant, maybe people would leave like €1 each or something like that. But a lot of Italians don't leave anything, and they actually can't stand it when Americans leave huge tips because it's not their culture, and then it sets up the expectation that the local people like are supposed to leave these massive tips, and they don't have like that kind of money to throw around. And so I would just don't go too crazy with the tips. And you had mentioned travel when you brought up etiquette, and I just want to say this really quick. Travel thing has nothing to do with etiquette, but I think it
Yeah.
could help to your listeners.
Yeah.
So when you fly in, especially if you're flying in internationally, you'll probably arrive in the Fiumicino airport, and they've got an express train that goes from the airport right into Rome.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so buy your train ticket there at the airport. You have to make sure you stamp it. I think they're changing the turnstiles. So you're sort of like forced to stamp it. But if you get caught with a ticket and you don't stamp it before you get on the train, you can get a big fine. So
Oh,
you'll see like these yellow boxes in like the platform areas. So make sure you stamp your ticket before you get on the train.
okay.
Um, so that's pretty important. And then once you get to your destination, you'll be at the Termini train station, and there you can find taxis, you can find buses. I usually take the bus. If you have a phone that works internationally, you can just look on your phone like which bus to get wherever you need to go to.
Okay. Yeah. And this is probably implied because I feel like Rome is pretty well advanced. What if like you're in a wheelchair or maybe you've limited mobility. Can you easily get around? Are they accommodating?
That is an excellent question. I think that the buses can accommodate wheelchairs. I'm really not sure. I'm sorry, I don't know the
Okay.
answer to
I'll
that
do a
one.
little bit more research and I'll include it in the show notes. And sorry, I did not send you that question in advance, but it is something that I like to ask because
No, I think that's
yeah,
important. It's just, I guess it's not something that I've had to deal with. But I would hope that there would be a way for people to get around. And, there are taxis. So if you're there as, a tourist, then
yeah.
hopefully
Now,
you can get around that
what
way.
about like Uber and Lyft? Do they have like a ride sharing or like a ride app type of
As far as
situation?
I know, Lyft does not exist outside of America yet.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Um, they have Uber, but the last time I was in there, I think I tried to use it and there was not somebody within like a 20-minute distance.
Oh,
So I think
okay. All
that
right.
like I think slowly maybe it's starting to like become a thing.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that people can get ripped off with taxes. So if you are staying at a hotel, then I guess try to get them to arrange something for you.
Yeah. Now, is it safe for women to travel by themselves?
I feel very safe there. Yes, I
Okay.
think Rome is very safe for solo women. I mean, I've lived there on and off for many months. And so, yeah, I would just say be careful with your purse. Make sure that you have a purse that zips up, and be careful when you're on a bus or a train because pickpocketing is an issue. But other than that, you should be fine.
And then, do you have any final tips for listeners who are traveling to Rome? They want to live like a local. Any hot tips?
If you are staying there long term and you want to make some friends with people, and when I say long term, I guess I just mean like a month or two,
Yeah.
try to do conversation exchanges with people. I find that a great way to meet people. Website called conversationexchange.com, and I've met some really cool friends that way. And then there's different expat groups, so I would try to look one up on Facebook, and it's just fun to meet other expats and travelers, but conversation and exchange would be a way for you to meet actual local people. And then if you're there for a shorter period of time, I would just be mindful that a lot of the shops will be closed on Sunday and a lot of the museums will be closed on Monday. So maybe you want to do your museum going on Sunday and your shopping on Monday.
Okay. And I know this is like the final question, but I'm going to go back to one. What are your favorite museums that you have to check out and experience?
The Galleria Borghese is my favorite museum by far. It is in a really spectacular park, and they have a really beautiful collection of some of Italy's best art. And one of the things that I like the most is that they've got an audio guide that is really great at storytelling and just super engaging. I often get an audio guide at a museum, and a majority of the time I regret it because I'm like, oh, this is not really telling me anything, or it's so dry and academic, and they're not even speaking about the art. They're talking about some sort of like obscure artistic like detail of
Right.
the paint or something like that. I'm like, no, I want the story, I want the history.
Yeah.
And so the audio guide there is fantastic, and you have to book it in advance.
Okay.
So if you go there, make sure you book in advance. And I think the tickets are valid for a certain time period. You'll get a 2-hour window. And so if you go and then you do the audio guide, it's just like, I think the perfect amount of time because you can go for 2 hours, enjoy some great culture, and then stroll around in the park and then go get your wine or your gelato or whatever you want afterward.
Oh, it sounds great. That absolutely sounds great. So, hopefully we've shared well, Sarah has shared some great tips on living like a local in Rome. I am learning with the rest of you listeners out there. Um, but how about we just form a group trip? We all go to Rome. We sit, we watch the world go by, we drink our wine.
Perfect
We,
day.
yeah, yeah.
That
I'm
is
going to
a
go have a
perfect day.
perfect day in Rome. That sounds fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Stress free. Ah, that sounds lovely. Yeah. So I am going to include all this information and more on experiencesyoushouldhave.com. Click on episodes. Very long show notes will be available to you. So you don't have to memorize everything that was said here, or you can just go there, get the information, and definitely check out Sarah's podcast and travel blog at the Postcard Academy, and links will be there for her site. Anything else you'd like to share today, Sarah?
Well, travel and podcasts are my passion. So thank you for mentioning my travel podcast, Postcard Academy. And I'm actually launching a new podcast this week called,
What?
called Podcasting Step by Step. I have enjoyed podcasting so much that I want to teach other people how to do it. So that will be available by the time that this show airs.
Fabulous. Okay, I will link to that too because you might be so inspired to start a podcast after listening to this podcast. And Sarah can teach you how. Sarah, you are a wealth of knowledge, and just truly thank you for being on the show.
Thank you. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for listening to Experiences You Should Have. Please follow us on Instagram, Experiences Podcast. Go to experiencesyousshouldhave.com to see the show notes, read more, get links to all of the great stuff in this episode. And also, if you have an experience that you would like to share, hit us up on experiencesyousshouldhave.com. Also, check out the Postcard Academy podcast. You can also find their website at postcardacademy.co /podcast. And listen to the Italy versus America 12 Cultural Differences show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and she touched on a few of those in this show today. But if you want to know more, there are more hidden gems in that show. Thank you for listening, and start planning your travel adventure today.